1. Jonathan Kuminga free agency update. What's next for the Warriors star? 2. Why Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors is uncertain. 3. Suns eye Jonathan Kuminga in sign and trade. What's next for the Warriors forward? 1. Jonathan Kuminga free agency update. What's next for the Warriors star? Shocking but true. We are entering the final stretch of July and one of basketball's brightest young athletes, Jonathan Kuminga, is still watching free agency from the sideline instead of the court. A month ago, front office chatter painted him as a must-sign restricted free agent. Today, the phone lines have fallen almost silent. What happened? And, more importantly, what does it say about the ever-changing chessboard of NBA roster building? Back on opening night of the 2025 free agency window, two franchises bolted out of the gate with clear interest in prying Kuminga away from the Golden State Warriors, the Washington Wizards and the Miami Heat. The fit seemed obvious. Washington craved an explosive wing to accelerate a rebuild, and Miami wanted an extra punch next to Andrew Wiggins, Tyler Herro, and Bam Adebayo. Yet both clubs quietly solved that need by other means. The Wizards traded for Cam Whitmore, another uber-athletic, first-round swingman whose ceiling is limited only by his learning curve, while Miami picked up proven scorer Norman Powell, a veteran who can torch the scoreboard in a hurry. Neither player is a mirror image of Kuminga, but each scratches the same strategic itch: athletic wing scoring. But here's where it gets controversial. Once those two dominoes fell, the marketplace for Kuminga thinned out at warp speed. Phoenix briefly entered the rumor mill. Unfortunately for Kuminga's camp, the Suns had already rolled the dice on another high-octane but unpolished talent, Jalen Green, leaving little cap room, and perhaps even less appetite, for more developmental risk. Chicago and Sacramento sniffed around as well, but insiders described the Bulls' level of commitment as lukewarm and the Kings' sign-and-trade concept as, frankly, laughable. Why the cool reception? Timing is everything. Most general managers mapped out A-, B-, and C-level plans long before July 1st. Once Plan B materialized, be it Whitmore, Powell, or Green, the urgency to chase Kuminga evaporated. Add in the fact that signing a restricted free agent often ties up cap space for days while the incumbent team deliberates, and suddenly that once appetizing gamble feels like ordering dessert after you're already full. This dynamic leaves the Warriors in an unexpectedly strong negotiating position. Golden State can simply wait, confident no rival has flashed an offer sheet rich enough to force their hand. Internally, the organization still believes the 22-year-old wing has another gear to reach. Remember, his averages jumped again last season, and they'd prefer to keep him by the bay for a fifth campaign rather than flip him for pennies on the dollar. And this is the part most people miss. The stalemate isn't just about money, it's about role clarity. Rival franchises don't want to overpay for potential if they can't guarantee Kuminga star-level minutes, while the Warriors are selling him on continuity, championship culture, and the chance to inherit a larger slice of the scoring pie as their veteran core ages. Could a mystery suitor still swoop in with a monster offer sheet, forcing Golden State either to match or walk away? Absolutely. All it takes is one front office willing to roll the dice on upside. Yet with each passing day, and with each mid-level contract handed to a Plan B forward, that scenario grows less and less likely. Bold takeaway: the further we progress into the offseason, the higher the odds that Jonathan Kuminga slips back into a Warriors jersey for year 5, possibly on a team-friendly deal that once seemed inconceivable. So light up the comments section. Should another franchise push the envelope and overpay for raw athletic upside, or is the league wisely pumping the brakes? If you're sitting in a GM's chair, do you risk cap flexibility on a player who hasn't fully connected the dots yet? Or do you side with caution and let Golden State keep their man? Let's hear your hottest takes, agreement, disagreement, or anything in between. 2. Why Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors is uncertain. This off-season drama around Jonathan Kuminga is boiling over. Fire. the Golden State Warriors find themselves in a bind, and so do the teams hoping to land their young forward. Restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga, at just 22 years old, has suddenly become a tougher acquisition than many anticipated. No franchise is willing, or even able, to pony up exactly what Golden State wants. Take the Phoenix Suns, for instance. According to Jake Fisher on the Stein line, they're the latest team exploring a possible sign-and-trade. But here's where it gets controversial: the Suns don't have the draft picks or complementary players the Warriors reportedly demand. In other words, their interest may be genuine, but their assets simply fail to measure up. And this is the part most people miss. Restricted free agency traditionally allows teams to extend an offer sheet directly to a player, hoping the original team won't match it. History is filled with examples, like when the Chicago Bulls matched several targeted offers for prospective stars. Yet, so far no team has dared to flirt with an offer sheet to Kuminga. Instead, front offices are scrambling to engineer trades that juggle their tight payrolls and dodge painful luxury tax or salary cap penalties. The Sacramento Kings were previously linked to Kuminga, but the Warriors rebuffed their offer, too. Apparently, no one has delivered the right combination of future draft picks, young talent, or bench contributors that meets Golden State's asking price. This mismatch highlights how the market for Kuminga's skill set has cooled dramatically, especially since teams are now avoiding the steep salary tax aprons imposed by the new collective bargaining agreement. Let's unpack that. Under the latest CBA, entering the so-called first and second aprons, thresholds placed above the luxury tax line, carries far harsher financial consequences than in past seasons. For a player like Kuminga, whose upside is undeniable but whose consistency remains in question, teams are far more cautious. Even though he flashed offensive promise early in last season and delivered clutch performances in the playoffs, albeit in a losing series against the Timberwolves, many front offices fear that paying him north of $25 million per year could hamstring their flexibility. Interestingly, Golden State itself is reluctant to meet his $25 million annual asking price. The Warriors are reportedly $25 million shy of the first tax apron with just 9 contracts on the books. If they cross that line, they lose the ability to pursue veteran targets like Al Horford and D'Anthony Melton, players whose signings have been rumored all summer. Prioritizing a 39-year-old big man and a guard coming off an ACL tear over a raw, athletic wing may not excite the trade market, but that's the dilemma the Dubs face. So what's the plan? From the Warriors' perspective, striking a compromise with Kuminga's camp could finally nudge free agency and trade chatter into gear. Any deal, even one slightly below his expectations, would free up the team to chase other contributors immediately. It would also push more serious trade negotiations into December, when the Warriors can leverage the restriction-free trading window to demand higher returns. But that's precisely where this saga has stalled. Over a month has passed without a breakthrough. In other words, the waiting game drags on, and uncertainty reigns for both Kuminga and the Warriors. Here's a thought-provoking question to leave you with. Is the league's new financial framework unfairly penalizing young players still finding their footing, or is it simply nudging teams towards smarter long-term planning? And here's the part that could spark debate. Maybe Kuminga's true value isn't what teams think. Could Golden State be overplaying its hand by demanding too rich a return for a player who might blossom into an all-star elsewhere? What do you think? Do you side with the Warriors' cautious cap management, or should they go all in on Kuminga's potential? Drop your thoughts below and let the conversation begin. 3. Suns eye Jonathan Kuminga in sign-and-trade. What's next for the Warriors forward? The Phoenix Suns are eyeing a potential sign-and-trade deal involving Jonathan Kuminga, a forward for the Golden State Warriors, who is reportedly looking for a more lucrative contract. In the wake of Bradley Beal's recent buyout agreement, which will see him join the Los Angeles Clippers for the upcoming season, the Suns are now turning their attention to Kuminga. According to Jake Fisher from the Stein line, the Suns have initiated discussions with the Warriors regarding this restricted free agent. Kuminga has expressed his desire for a more substantial financial offer than what the Warriors are currently prepared to provide. He has also been quite vocal about his aspirations for a larger and more stable role within the Warriors lineup. While there remains a chance that the two parties could reach a consensus on a new contract, possibly even a short-term one, the more probable scenario is that Kuminga will find himself playing for a different team next season. However, the challenge lies in the fact that very few teams possess the salary cap space necessary to meet Kuminga's expectations, which are rumored to be at least $25 million annually. The Chicago Bulls were previously seen as a potential destination for him, but they have yet to finalize a deal with their own restricted free agent, Josh Giddey. This situation does not completely eliminate the Bulls from consideration, but with mid-July upon us and no progress on the Giddey front, it appears Chicago is not rushing to make any moves at this time. Additionally, the Sacramento Kings have also been mentioned as a possible landing spot for Kuminga, but, as Fisher notes, no significant developments have occurred in that regard either. The Suns present an interesting option for Kuminga, yet several obstacles must be navigated to facilitate this move. Primarily, the Warriors are seeking first-round draft picks in exchange for Kuminga in a sign-and-trade scenario, and this is an area where the Suns currently fall short. After trading Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets, the Suns received only one first-round pick in return, which was the 10th overall selection in the 2025 draft. They used this pick to draft Carmen Maluak, a promising big man from Duke. Furthermore, the Suns do not have control over their own first-round picks until 2032, as they owe their 2031 pick to the Utah Jazz, making trades involving first-round picks impossible for the time being. If the Suns are truly keen on acquiring Kuminga, it is likely that a third team will need to be involved in order to satisfy the Warriors' demands for the assets they seek in return. But here's where it gets controversial. Can the Suns really afford to give up more assets for a player like Kuminga, or should they focus on developing their existing roster? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments.